Hi friends, my name is Kelly Dempsey. I am a sustainable fashion designer as well as a Bernina ambassador. Today I will be showing you how to take the sweaters you're not wearing anymore or sweaters you find in the thrift store and upcycle those into nice warm winter mittens. One of the main reasons why I love to source my materials from the thrift store is because, believe it or not, over 80% of all items donated to a thrift store actually never get bought and ends up in a landfill. I kind of look at it as a rescue mission, so we are going to head to the thrift store right now and I'm going to find the perfect sweater to make the mittens. Let's go! I hit up my local Salvation Army. They have the best deals. I found the perfect sweater. It had the ribbing on the bottom, which is great for the base of the mitten. You don't need to hem it. I recommend these types of sweaters. Another bonus, yellow tickets were 99 cents today. Score. The other material you will need is a soft, fuzzy fabric. I found this piece of Little Mermaid fleece for $1. Okay, I washed and dried my sweater, so she's ready to go. It's gonna be lovely. Another fun tip, you can also use the sleeves for mittens as well. We also washed our fleece, so she is nice and soft and ready. You can find a link by this video for my free mittens pattern to print at home. A quick note, you want to make sure you click actual size and not fit to page or anything else like that. I put a little 1-inch square in the corner of the page so you can test after you print to make sure it's correct. Alright, we printed her out. She looks lovely. Here is our little tester. The pattern sizing looks good. A quick reminder, never use your fabric scissors for paper. It'll dull them very quickly. We got our paper scissors ready to rock, so we are just gonna cut all along the solid line. Looking good. So I'm gonna cut the fleece first. It's a little bit easier. I'm gonna fold it in half and cut 2 layers at a time. I'm just cutting this again so I have a folded over piece for each mitten. This is a basic mitten pattern, so if you like your mitten a little longer up the wrist, you can move it up just like I did. So now just take your fabric scissors and you're just gonna cut all the way around this pattern. This will be one mitten lining, a front and a back. Always hold on to your fabric scraps to further upcycle into something else. Okay, so we're gonna now cut the lining for our other mitten. Because we extended the wrist a little bit, I'm just gonna use the other mitten as a pattern. It works great. Now we have both of the linings cut for our mittens, so we are on to the sweater. I mentioned the importance of the bottom of the sweater where it's ribbed. That's gonna be the base of our mitten that goes around our wrist. That doesn't need to be hemmed. So you wanna make sure the front and the back of the sweater is lined up evenly so it matches up on both sides. I left about a 1/2 inch space below the pattern so it's the same size as the lining. I'm also not cutting directly along the paper pattern because I like a little more seam allowance with the knit. Okay, we have one outer mitten piece cut, and now you're just going to do that exact thing one more time for your other mitten. Now match lefts and rights and you should have 8 pieces total. Now we want to pin all these pieces ready to sew. So what we want to do is put right sides together for all of them. Right sides on the inside and wrong sides facing up. Same thing with your linings. You just want to pin them now or use clips, whatever you have. Side note, if you don't use clips and only pins, I highly recommend them, especially for fabric like this. You want to make sure you have a stretch needle in there for this material. You also want to make sure you're doing a zigzag stitch. I like my stitch length around 2.75. Make sure to go forward and back a couple times to lock your stitch. With fleece, I like to do about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It doesn't usually have an issue with fraying. Do a little pivot right here and then down around the thumb. This is what it should look like and you don't really need to trim it down. Same thing on the other lining. Now on to the sweater. You want to do the same thing you did on your lining, but you want to leave a little bit more than a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's always a good idea when you have a looser knit. You want to do a tiny clip above the thumb on each of these 4 pieces just to release some tension, making sure not to cut your stitches. Then on your outer sweater pieces, you just want to trim down some of the seam allowance to remove some bulk. Then you want to flip only your 2 sweater pieces right side out. She's coming together, not gonna lie. Now keep your lining piece inside out and fold up the bottom about a 1/2 inch. Put your hand in like so, and then you're just gonna use your clips or pins, just a couple on each side to hold it in place. Pick a glove and you're gonna wanna just put your hand in it, take it off, and then you're gonna pin that lining in place. You'll see it's about a 1/2 inch lower than that sweater knit edge. You want to make sure that you grab that lining on the inside and then pin a few places around. Always for stretch fabrics, we want to be doing a zigzag stitch. You can always try to squeeze our mitten over, but you also won't see the lining on the inside, so instead, we are going to stitch it from the inside. Make sure you match thread color top and bottom so you don't see it. So you're just gonna go all the way around on both mittens, locking at the beginning and end of each stitch. And voila, just like that, we have some nice warm winter mittens from secondhand materials. And so you're not wasting the rest of the sweater. You can always make more mittens from any part of it. You would just hem up that bottom sweater piece inside just like you did the lining. You can check out my online classes at kellydempsey.com. Happy sewing!